And today I want to share 5 simple but powerful strategies that I learned from my journey to help you build strong trust with your manager, avoid the traps that hold people back, and grow in your career while making a real difference in your organization. These are not theories. They are practical steps you can start using today. So let's get into that. Number 1, what you do. What you do is about mastering your role. First thing first, if you want to grow in your career, you have to be good at your job. That means being competent, consistently delivering results, meeting deadline, and showing your manager that they can rely on you. When your organization hired you or put you in the role, they trusted that you can and you will do the job. If you don't deliver on that, nothing else matters. You won't last long in the role and in the company. Everything else I share with you today builds on this foundation. Without it, you can't grow. But with it, all the other strategies become like rocket fuel helping you move upward. And upward doesn't always mean a promotion or a salary increase. Sometimes it means personal satisfaction. It means achievement, or it could mean influence. Here is a reality check you can do right now. If there are 5 people in your team and the company had to pick 1 or 2 people at the best at what they do, would that be you? If your answer is yes, that's great. You're already on the right track. Keep going. But if your feeling tells you no, that's also good news, because now you know exactly where you need to improve. And listen, this isn't about competing with your colleagues. It's about asking yourself, if someone else can be the top performer, why not me? The key is to identify the gap. What's holding you back? If it's a skill issue, then go build that skill. Practice it. Do it over and over again until it becomes your second nature. Because here is the truth. An expert isn't some magical person. An expert is simply someone who has done the same thing so many times that they know exactly how to do it almost without thinking. Now, let me tell you something about managers. Managers love what I call low maintenance people. Why? Because they are busy, they have deadlines, they have pressures, and they have their own challenge. The less time they spend chasing or fixing issues for their team, the more energy they have to actually lead and focus on strategy and critical tasks. Low maintenance people don't need hand-holding. They take ownership, they solve problems, and they even come with solutions instead of just raising problems. They under-promise, but they over-deliver, and they make the manager's life easier. At the end of the day, a manager's primary expectation is pretty simple. They want their team to understand their responsibility and deliver results with high quality and consistency. Do that, and you are already on the first bus to winning trust. In fact, a study by Great Place to Work said that credibility, being good at your job and delivering on your promise, is one of the biggest cornerstones of trust in your workplace. When you show competence, your manager and your peers naturally gain confidence in you. Now, here is the thing. Mastering your role is only half the equation. You could be the smartest, most capable person in the room, but if people don't want to work with you, your growth stops there. That's why the next step is just as important as being competent at your job. It's not only what you do that matters, it's how you do it. And this is where building bridge, not walls comes in. So number 2, how you do it. Building bridge, not walls. Being good at your job is important, but just as important is how you do it. And that's where things like collaboration, active listening, and having positive attitude makes all of the difference. Now, let me be clear. It's completely okay to go to your manager when you're facing with challenge. Whether it's in your day-to-day work or in a project, you should report it and talk it through. In fact, this is expected. That's one of the reasons why you have a manager. Their role is to understand the roadblocks and help guide you through them. And here is something important. Sometimes even managers don't have the answer. And that's okay. That's actually an opportunity for you. It's a chance to step up and suggest options and propose solutions. The best managers don't try to be the smartest person in the room. They create space for their teams to contribute. And that's your window to speak up. But here is the problem. Many professionals, especially diaspora professionals, get stuck here. They hold back because they feel their ideas might sound silly. And I'll be honest with you, I used to be the same. There were times in meetings where I had ideas and I just kept quiet. I was battling with myself. Should I say it? Is it the right time? What if it sounds dumb? And then guess what? Someone else said the same idea and they got the credit. And I would be sitting there frustrated at myself. Here is the truth. No one told me my ideas were silly. It was all my internal. It was my own fear holding me back, not people around me. And that's the lesson I want to give you. Speak up, even if you're afraid. Your idea might be the solution to the team needs. When you propose solutions, think of it as if this is your problem to solve, and believe that you are one of the best people in the room to solve it. Now, the other side of how you do your job is about the relationship and connection you build with your manager, your team, and even cross-functional colleagues. Ask yourself, do people feel comfortable working with you? Do they find it easy to collaborate with you? Do they feel supported by you? Imagine if there was a survey right now about how you work with others, what grade would you get? If it's a good grade, that's fantastic, keep doing it. But don't evaluate yourself only through your own eyes. Evaluate yourself through their perspective. That's not always easy, but it's one of the best ways to improve. Because none of us are perfect. There is always something to work on. Feedback plays a huge role here. If you struggle with feedback, it will hold you back. You need to shift your mindset. Feedback isn't criticism. Think of it like a mirror. It shows you what you can see on your own. And yes, we all have biased view of ourselves. We think we're doing great. We think our way is the right way. But what we believe about ourselves doesn't always reflect reality. Feedback is the wake-up call that helps you adjust. And let's not forget your role with your team. Your team should feel good working with you. They should feel supported, guided, and trained. Sometimes people hesitate to share their knowledge because they're afraid others will outshine them. But honestly, that's the wrong mindset. If you genuinely support and train your team, people will see it. You don't need to talk about it. Your actions will be visible. On the other hand, people who take credit for others' work, it may give them a short-term wins, but in the long run, everyone sees through it. If you focus on being genuine, building others up, and transforming knowledge, you will win in the long run. Studies consistently show that teams with high trust are more innovative and more productive. For example, a report by Rofe Park Institute highlights that openness, reliability, and supportiveness are key behaviors that build trust at work. And trust becomes the foundation for recognition, growth, and career opportunity. Remember, it's not about what you do, but how you do it that shapes your success. So we've covered what you do, mastering your role, and we've covered how you do it, building bridge, not walls. But there is one more layer that separates good professionals from great ones. It's not just about doing your job well. It's not just about working well with others. It's about why you do it, making sure your work connects to something bigger than yourself. You can be excellent in your role and a great team player, but if your effort aren't aligned with where the company is headed, you'll eventually feel stuck. That brings us to the third piece, number 3, why you do it. Align with organizational goals. Once you join an organization, here is the first reality you need to understand. The company pays you for your time and for your skill. You are either a direct or an indirect cost. What that really means is simple. For every dollar the company invests in you, the company expects to gain much more, directly or indirectly. You count it as a headcount, and your role is to add value. Once you are in, it's not about you, it's about the value you bring to the company. The higher the value you add, the more recognition you get, and ultimately, the higher your pay. If you are in a role that is directly tied to product or service, like working on a manufacturing line, your hours are considered a direct cost, which is added to the product price. But if you are in the marketing, sales, or other support functions, you are an indirect cost. It just means your role adds value in a different way, making process smoother, supporting sales, ensuring compliance, or helping the company reach its goal efficiently. Here is the key question. What value are you adding and how can you increase it? The higher the contribution, the more visible you are and the better your career growth and pay potential. If your work can easily be replaced by someone else or is very common, your opportunities will be limited. Some companies offer bonus, benefit, or incentive, but those are meant to recognize the value you provide and encourage you to keep adding more. So, what does adding value actually mean? Some people complain all the time. They drain energy, even if they technically do their job. Others make small issues into big problems, wasting their managers and their team time. But the people who really add value are different. They look at problems and solve them smartly or efficiently. They collaborate and engage with team members to improve or simplify process. They invest their time and energy to support the company's revenue engine and drive change. They focus on how to help the organization succeed, not themselves only. These people understand that they are in the company for the company's success. Yes, your paycheck, benefits, and bonus matter, but if your focus is only on them, you lose track. The company pays well because it's doing well, and you only benefit if you help it succeed. If you adopt this mindset, you won't be limited by your job description. You'll be a determined problem solver, someone who drives change, learns fast, and grows quickly. Every company has problems, and they are always looking for people who can help solve them. The difference is only a few recognize this opportunity, and those are the people who rise fast. And let me be clear, this doesn't mean working 24/7. It means focusing on the right things and working smart. At first, it may take time to be recognized, but once you are, it's almost impossible to go back, and you will be grateful that you took the effort. Be the person who adds real value. Be the person your manager and the organization can rely on. That's how you grow and how you make your mark. Now, once you have aligned yourself with your organization goals, something powerful happens. You start to see how your day-to-day work actually moves the needle for the company. But here is the thing. Alignment on paper isn't enough. Anyone can say, yes, I understand the goals. The real test is whether you can consistently deliver against those goals, not just once in a while, but over and over again. And that's where the next principle comes in. Number 4, consistency and accountability. Trust is one of those things that's not built overnight. It grows over time through consistent actions, reliability, and especially how you show up when times are tough. If you are accountable in those moments, people start to see you as trustworthy. Trust grows when you deliver, but also when you speak the truth with care. You don't just say what people want to hear, you say what they need to hear, but with tonality and intention that shows up. Here is something psychology research confirms. Trust is often built less by dramatic gesture and more by small, consistent signal over time. Harvard Business Review has a great piece on this, The Neuroscience of Trust by Paul Vack. It's not a formula, but your brain literally rewards trustworthy behavior with oxytocin, the chemical that deepens human connection. So if you want to build trust with your manager or anyone, it comes down to this. Be consistent in your work. Be accountable when it is hard. Communicate honestly, but in a way that supports rather than attacks. And show that you are invested not just in your success, but in mutual success. When trust is your foundation, your manager will give you opportunities, autonomy, and recognition. Without trust, even the most talented person will be overlooked. According to Gallup, when employees trust their leaders, engagement increases dramatically. However, trust scarcity drastically lowers engagement. Consistency in leadership action and accountability are vital components in building and maintaining trust. Trust is not a one-way street, it's reciprocal. When leaders show trust, employees are much more likely to reciprocate with loyalty and strong performance. Trust doesn't grow when it's demanded but never offered. It grows when both sides take the first step. Now, people don't just trust anyone. They trust those who are credible in their values and competent in their skills. Reliability isn't only about being on time, it's about showing that you know your craft and can deliver results that actually matter. Trust is built on 2 levels. On the logical side, it's your track record, your skills, your consistency. But on the emotional side, neuroscience shows that trust deepens when people feel safe, respected, and valued. In fact, studies even link trust to the release of oxytocin, the brain chemical that bonds people. So it's not just what you deliver, it's how you make others feel. And here is the thing. Most people think trust is earned through one big heroic act, but research shows the opposite. It's the small, consistent actions repeated over time that make people certain they can count on you. It's not about one grand gesture. It's about the daily movements where you show up, follow through, and keep your word. That's what makes trust stick. So we've talked about showing up consistently, taking ownership, and being someone your manager and team can always rely on. That's the backbone of trust and career growth. But there is one final piece that takes everything to the next level: recognition. Because being reliable and consistent is essential, but if you never shine or share the spotlight with others, your contribution might go unnoticed. Recognition isn't just about getting credit for yourself. It's also about celebrating and lifting up the people around you. When you do that, you not only strengthen relationship, you owe both to your manager and to your peers. So number 5, recognition. Shine and share the spotlight. It's human nature and sometimes even our competitive side that makes us want to show only what we did. We say things like, I achieved this, I made that happen, it's because I gave the feedback, it's because I told her and I told him. And sure, we all want credit for our works. That's natural. But here is the trap. Sometimes we get blinded to the fact that other people also contributed to that success. We start believing this Hollywood-style story where one hero does everything alone. And that's just not true in real life. Success is almost always shared. What's powerful is when you flip that mindset. Instead of grabbing all the spotlight, you choose to recognize others. And not just privately, but publicly in front of peers and in front of the room. Because when you recognize others, two things happen. The person being recognized feels valued, and that motivates them even more. But just as important, you build trust. People see that you have integrity, that you don't take credit that isn't yours, and that you are confident enough to lift others up. That's the kind of leader people want to follow, and that's the kind of colleague managers trust. And this isn't just a nice to have. Research backs it up. Study by achievers found that recognition is one of the most powerful drivers of trust in the workplace. When employees feel recognized and valued, their trust in leadership increases, and that leads to higher engagement and stronger retention. So here is the takeaway. If you want to build trust and grow in your career, don't just focus on being recognized yourself. Focus on recognizing others. Ironically, the more you do that, the more people will notice you and trust you. Build trust with your manager isn't an overnight process, but by consistently applying business strategies, mastering your role, collaborating effectively, aligning with organizational goals, being accountable and recognizing achievements, you can create a foundation for your success. Remember, trust is a two-way street. As you build trust with your manager, you will find that your contributions are more recognized, your relationships are stronger, and your career path becomes clearer. Building trust with your manager isn't just about getting promoted. It's about growing in your career, making a bigger difference, and creating stronger relationships at work. So remember these 5 steps. Master your role, build bridge, not walls, align with the bigger goals, be consistent and accountable, recognize and lift others. Let me ask you, which of these 5 steps do you need to focus on most right now? Drop your answers in the comment, and don't forget, growth doesn't come by luck. It comes from clarity, action, and consistency. If this video helped you, like it, subscribe, and share it with someone you love. And in the next video, I will go deeper into a powerful topic, how to manage up, practical ways to influence your manager and create opportunities. Until then, keep learning, keep growing, and keep making an impact.